Good morning, everybody. This is Mikael from Healthwise Enterprise, the health food store that's located at 3807 East 8 Mile Road, about 3 blocks west of Ryan, or between Ryan and Dequindre. But some people say we're between Taco Bell and Long John Silver. We're there to service you 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 to 7. And you can give us a call directly at the store at 586-757-DIET. Again, that's 586-757-3438. And we still have our old original phone number, 313-366-DIET, which is still good. And if you wanted to get in touch with me directly, you can call me on the cell phone, 313-600-8532. Well, next week is what they call Thanksgiving Day, and so we will not be here. It's one of those times you get to spend with the family, and I really enjoy that time. And but today, I wanted to talk about some of the things you can do to counteract the ill effects that Thanksgiving, as far as your health is concerned, and that's the one time we just eat all kind of combinations, and it gets into our system and it clogs our system up, and so we just got a supply in of the oxy powder. It's one of my favorite products, and a lot of other folks too, because of the fact that it works. People get great results from the oxy powder. It works on not only just in your large and small intestines, but also the liver and the kidneys, the gallbladder, the blood system, lymphatic system, the skin, and the lungs. But for any cleanser to work, you got to have water. How much water is everybody's different. It's not one size fits all like they used to tell you, 8 ounce glasses. It's based on your body weight. And this I got from Dick Gregory and some other researchers, is you take your body weight, divide it by 2, that gives you the number of ounces that your body needs per day in the water. The other key thing when you're taking cleansers is that the first place the body goes to get water is your colon. So you want to make sure it's lubricated in the daytime, because the oxy powder you take at night on an empty stomach about 3 hours after the last meal. So you end up going to bed hungry, which is ideal for your body and how your body works. Because when you're hungry, your body starts living off of itself, and what it eats up first is that disease cells, because those are the weaker cells in the body. And when you get up in the morning, you have these major dumpings that's be 1, 2, sometimes 3 or 4 feet long, and sometimes you even have to flush the commode twice because there's so much this old stuff coming out. When you dry skin brush, after about 10 days, you'll start seeing these mucus strands, which is the fat cells being broken up from the skin brushing, start coming out in the stool too. Later on, we're going to talk about how to read stool. And I ran across this chart, which I have kind of been looking for, but you give me this chart now. I'm going to see if I can order some. But it's kind of what we do with our babies, is that we read their stool, and it tells you, gives you indication of their state of their health. Well, it's a trait that we want to have our whole life, because it's easier to prevent a disease than to get it, and it's also easier to nip a disease in the bud if you get it at stage 1. You know, they have these tests that's like a blood test. You can tell if you got cancer, but a lot of doctors don't even teach it in medical school, from what I've heard. But it would tell you the beginning, if you're 19 months ahead of time, if you have cancer, okay, stage 1 cancer. and and I was reading, it's kind of a little bit off of what I was gonna say, but these tests, that's one test, and that we can get more of to counteract this onslaught of people getting diseases and dying. And speaking about dying, my heart goes out to the family at the water station. Mr. Jones, um, he he passed the other day, and so my heart goes out to that. This is from the water station. This was a brother that Dr. Kiefer had handpicked herself to run the water station, and in her transition, and he did an excellent job. So not sure who's going to take over, but I know his brother worked there too. And like I said, my heart and condolences goes out to the family of the brother that ran the water station, Mr. Jones. Um, huh. It's a, like I say, it's a good brother, an Aquarian brother, like myself. Just loved people, dedicated, was moving water station beyond areas that even Dr. Kiefer had done, and that was get the water in major distribution centers like Walmart and Sam's Club, and they was at the verge of doing just that. So with this tragedy, I hope those doors open up for them, because they do a lot of good for our community. Dr. Kiefer laid that foundation, and then we had good people like Devon Jones that continue on with that work. And this is what we have to do, is to continue on with the work. Continue on giving information, continue on sharing with one another ways that we can counteract diseases, because it's like an onslaught of what the powers that be is doing to the food and to the air and to the water and to the clothes and even cell phones, and it's just. But the good thing about Healthwise is that we've found solutions to a lot of these onslaughters. And if you give us a call at 586-757-DIET and talk to the staff, and if you want to talk to me, you can call me on the cell phone, 313-600-8532. We can give you the results of our research, of our many years of research. 98% of all diseases originate in the colon. I learned that about 50 years ago. I was in the kitchen and something told me don't eat pork for a week, and I didn't, and I felt so much better. And then I asked the next question, what else has this society told my parents that was good food to eat that really wasn't? It is, I look at this standard American diet, as a major brainwashing. Major brainwashing. To the point if you take somebody's meat away, they want to hurt you. You take somebody's sugar away, they want to kill you. And we all know innately that those foods is not good for us. But it keeps us going back and forth trying to deal with finances and trying to deal with personal challenges. And it's zero lot of this, the zero round money or the lack of money. And so folks, you know, they don't have time to spend time with God. They don't have time to meditate. They're too busy trying to hustle for $1. When the opposite is completely true. When you spend time with God, God will provide for you. All that is in each and every one of us, and a lot of that is written in the Bible. And so many books have been written about just that. When we focus on our higher selves, our universal creator, the source, God, Allah, Buddha, Ra, just so many names for our creator. And we give kudos, recognition, praise for our creator, and watch out for our fellow man, fellow woman. You really watching out for your brothers, and you're watching out for God's children, and you can't outgive God. No matter what you do. You give 100, God give you 1,000. You give 10,000, God give you 100,000. You give 1,000,000, God give you 10 million. It's just the way it goes. That's just the law. So, how do we deal? Well, of course, my phone is not acting right today. And so the article I had for you, don't know where it went, but this is definitely not it. And it's a lot of stuff they have on their Makola's website. Yeah, here it goes. Researchers uncover the secret behind BM, bowel movement. My wife used to say before Mikael. The story at a glance is that when you eat a meal, the food moves through your gastrointestinal tract, sometimes referred to as the GI tract, by way of a wave-like movements known as the peristaltic wave. And it starts from when your mouth, that when you swallow, it starts its wave through the whole 30 feet from the mouth to the anus. And when you take things like center tea or smooth move tea, those things speed up that wave. So you get a lot of loose waste to come out of your stool. But when you take things like the oxy powder, it breaks down a lot of that hard fecal matter that's in the colon. Most Americans got at least 25 pounds of undigested fecal matter in the colon. And that's before Thanksgiving. when you eat the Thanksgiving meal, to prevent those toxins from building up into your colon to go from 25 pounds to 26 or whatever, it's good to take some enzymes. I wanted to bring those with me, but we have them at Healthwise at 3807 East 8 Mile, and we got some more coming in tomorrow. Enzymes help break down your food, whether it be proteins, carbohydrates, fats, fibers, and milks. And it's ideal you take them before your meal, but you can also take them with your meal. How many you take depends on the meal. If it's all fresh, like all fruits or all salad, all fruits or all salad, you don't need to take any, because in those fruits and salad, by the fact that they fresh and not cooked, preferably organic, they have the enzymes in there. If it's like half a salad and half some cooked food, then you might want to consider taking maybe 3 or 4. If it's all cooked food, that's where you might want to consider 5 or 6. We've known people always take as many as 10 at one meal or in one day. Now, when the food come out and you flush that commode, a signal you want to look for is when the water hits the waste, it breaks it all up. That's a signal that your body has thoroughly used that food. Another type of movement, they called it stagnatation, occurs mostly in the large and small intestines and is thought to facilitate absorption of nutrients. How stagnatation works has remained a mystery. It has been theorized that the alternative excitation and inhibitions from the eccentric nervous system was responsible for the stagnation. New research suggests stagnation involves both nerves and muscles working together to generate a rhythmic movement that facilitates nutrients absorption. See, you got that peristaltic wave that we mentioned earlier. It goes from the mouth to the anus. When you swallow, starts that wave. The stagnation, what's going on there is that the food will go back and forth. Okay, and that's done by your nerves and your muscles. Going back and forth would also help with the absorption rate. It's a mystery because they don't know how the body does that. Okay, they can understand the continue to flow from your mouth to the anus, but the stagnation is a mystery. There's still a lot of things about this gift we got from God called our body that man has not discovered. That's to our benefits. You can gain clues about your overall health by noticing characteristics such as the shape, the color, the consistency, the frequency, and the smell of your bowel movements. Yes, we're talking about bowel movements on the week before Thanksgiving, because we've been taught to dealing with how food tastes, and what we encourage people to think about how this food's going to benefit your cells, not just the taste buds. Because once it passes the tongue, then the rest of your body got to deal with it. So if we become conscious of the food we put in, then we don't come prey to this onslaught of poisonings that they call in food. And Believe me, I know. I grew up on that for 18 years. I look forward to the Thanksgiving dinner with all the trimmings and turkeys and all of that. Do I miss it? No. um, it's been 50 years since I had any pork because these herbs and spices, a lot of times people only use during Thanksgiving time. Well, we encourage you to use them throughout your whole life. I found that we talked about the turmeric, and the article ran across talking about it's easy to find 100 people in America with dementia and Alzheimer's, but it's difficult to find one person in India with dementia or Alzheimer's. And he brought it down to the turmeric. In India, they consume more turmeric than any other country in the world. Now, they got the least amount of dementia and Alzheimer's, and they're a poor country. How is that? Well, in the turmeric is this nutrient called curcumin that actually reverses dementia, breaks up the plaque in the brain, and builds new brain cells. All the stuff they said couldn't be done. They consume a lot of turmeric. We can add turmeric to our diet. To help with the absorption of the turmeric, we suggest you use black pepper. Some people say red pepper. Use black pepper. Another country that has the least amount of candida is Thailand and the Philippines, because that country and those countries, they use more coconut oil than any other country in the world. And they have the lowest rate of cancer, because from studies they say candida is the beginning stages of cancer. So if you got that coconut oil, and this one lady already used it to reverse her husband's dementia by taking an ounce of coconut oil every day in his oatmeal. And now they're talking about how it kills candida, which contribute to so many diseases in the body. I'm mentioning those because when we go to cooking our food, rather than using that lard, if people still do that, or that margarine, which flies don't even attack, use the coconut oil. It's an option. It's easy to take a body function like your bowel movements for granted. That is, until a problem arises. Whether your bowel movement comes too frequently or not often enough, it can make you uncomfortable, bloated, or even interfere with your body's ability to absorb enough nutrients from the food that you eat. That's the focus. It's concentrating on the food that we eat rather than how good it tastes. And we've been programmed through every TV, radio, mama, daddy, teachers, preachers, all the people that we love and trust. Taste, taste, taste. And here at Healthwise, we're talking about, maybe just Mikael, talking about, yeah, taste is good, but with all these herbs that we have on the planet, and the meat don't taste like anything until you add the herbs to it anyway. And you can add those same herbs to your vegetables. To your vegetables when you cook them or have them raw. That's why I don't miss it, because I've had it, but these herbs that's available that wakes food up, garlic wakes food up, onions wake food up, lemons wake food up. It's a whole new taste. It's amazing. Staying regular. So we have books at Healthwise. One of my favorite ones is Eat Like You Give a Damn. That's the title of the book. And the brother traveled around the world bringing back this knowledge on how to prepare our foods so not only does it taste good, but it's good for us. Staying regular is critical for staying healthy. It pays it plays a major role in how you feel physically and emotionally while removing waste from your body. For a common body function, surprisingly little has been known about how bowel movement actually occurs, so new research from Canada, which claims to have uncovered the secret, is well worth sharing. How your poop reveals secrets. When you eat a meal, the food moves through your intestines by the peristaltic wave. During this movement, your muscles contract and relax, allowing food and liquids to be mixed thoroughly and move through your digestive tract. The peristaltic waves acts more like an ocean wave and helps move fecal matter through your digestive tract for elimination. Did you know your tonsils is your first line of defense for diseases? And what's attached to your colon is your appendix, is your second line of defense for diseases. There's any poisons that you may eat that taste good, like sugar and this salt, that's both of them free flowing and got chemicals in it. Is you know your your body secretes some juices to neutralize those. It's not like we got extra parts. And that's what I talked about the enzymes, because they help break those things down if you consume them. Another type of movement, the stagnation occurs mostly in your large and small intestines and is thought to facilitate absorption of nutrients. How stagnation works has remained a mystery, but it has been theorized that alternative excitation and inhibition from the eccentric nervous system was responsible. The new study reveals this is not the case, and stagnation may occur after total nerve blockage. Instead, the researchers found the stagnation patterns emerge when two sets of pacemakers work together to create a rhythm. The process involves both nerve and muscles work together to create a rhythmic movement that allows for nutrient absorption. The study leads researchers compared it to the movement generated when you drop a stone in the water. It's like when a stone is dropped in the water, it creates a wave or a motion that pushes things along. But when a second stone is dropped in the water, the movement changes to up and down, appearing to stay in the same place. And remember, peristaltics is smooth muscles of a wave contracting and moving food in one direction through the GI tract. Stagnation is the smooth muscles, but it's going back and forth, contracting to mix and break down the food further. They just don't know how it's done, but the body does it. That's the miracles of God. The findings could help open doors to treat conditions in which people have trouble absorbing nutrients with their food. It also shed light on how irregular bowel movements occur, specifically with diarrhea. Stagnation activity is too slow, while with constipation, it is too high. Abnormal stagnation activity may also be related to pain while eating. See, God put these enzymes in your food, in your friendly bacteria in your food, but they're sensitive to heat. just like we are, 105, 110, 120. You kill the life force of the food. And that life force is designed to break the food down. Now, it's tasting good, but it doesn't have that much to break it down so it could be absorbed. And it contributes to so many different diseases. Remember, 98% of all diseases originate in the colon from the standard American diet. The point I'm trying to make is that we are in control of what we put into our bodies. I used to say you can eat anything as long as you have some enzymes, but that's just really just keeping it just too simple. Because certain things is just, why would you? Well, I understand why, because it tastes good, but it's definitely not good for you. Your bowel movement offers important clues to your health. If you have a tendency to flush in a rush, you can get clues about your overall health by noticing characteristics such as the shape, the color, consistency, the frequency, the smell of your bowel movement. First, you need to know what a normal bowel movement is, which can actually vary quite dramatically. One of the most common asked questions relating to the frequency, although there's no right answer to this, bowel movements habits vary. When we talk about regularity, what we're really talking about is what's regular for you. 3 bowel movements per day to 3 bowel movements per week is considered the normal range. Wow. My teachers say if you put something in one end, it's supposed to come out the other end. And you can tell a healthy colon, like a brand new baby, when you feed them, the food come out smelling like it did when it went in. And you can tell the bowel transit time, how long it takes from go to one end to the other. That's a clean colon. What's more important than the frequency is the ease which your movement occurs. If you need to push or strain, something is off. Moving your bowels should take no more effort than urinating or passing gas. We always say if you got magazines in your bathroom, you're definitely not drinking enough water. You should keep an eye out for any sudden changes in your bowel habits which may signal a problem. Many factors contribute regularly from day to day, such as the diet and the travels and the medication and the hormones fluctuations, sleep patterns, exercise, illnesses, surgery, pregnancy, childbirth, stress, and more. As for appearance, the Bristol stool chart, which is the chart I want to get, is a handy tool to help you learn what a healthy stool looks like. Ideally, your stool should approximately be type 3, 4, or 5. Now, I can't show you this on TV, but 3 is like a sausage, but which cracks on the surface. A 4 is like a sausage, or a snake, smooth and soft. And number 5, soft blobs with clean-cut edges that passes easily. That's ideal. Here they talking about 3, 4, and 5, like a sausage, a snake, a smooth and soft, to soft blobs and pass easily. Type 4 is the Holy Grail. So when you take the oxy powder, you'll get sometime if you take too many, it may come out watery or soupy. Everybody's different. Some people have taken 4 and got the watery substance, they cut down to 3, 2, or 1. And some people have taken 4 and didn't get anything, so they had to increase it to 5 or 6. We had a police officer who's been for years eating donuts, which is that gluten foods. Gluten is a Latin word for glue, and he wanted to get rid of it. So he took 5 every day for a month and lost 30 pounds from his colon alone. It's remarkable. We had another guy that had diverticulitis, the little polyps, and his wife told him to take 4 every day, and in 1 month, they were gone. Poop, what's normal and what's not. What you see in the stool can give you clues about your gastrointestinal tract is functioning or even signaling serious disease process that could be occurring, like infections, digestive problems, and even cancer, just in the stool. This is true of both your urine and your stool. As for the latter, the following tables helps you to narrow down what to look for so that you aren't necessarily alarmed. Of course, there are few signs that are cause for concern, and those are enlisted too. If you have a change in stool accomplished by abnormal pain, please report this to your doctor. A healthy stool, medium or light brown. An unhealthy stool is hard to pass, painful, and requiring straining. Healthy stool, smooth and soft, forms into one long shape and not a bunch of pieces. An unhealthy stool, hard lumps and pieces, or mushy and watery, or even pastry, difficult to clean off. Healthy stool, about 1 to 2 inches in diameter and up to 18 inches long. Unhealthy stool is narrow, pencil-like, a rhythm-like stool. Can indicate a bowel obstruction or tumor, or worst case, colon cancer. Narrow stools on an infrequent basis are not so concerned, but if they pass and they are consistently, definitely warrant a call to your physician. Healthy stool is S-shaped, which comes from the shape of your lower intestines. Unhealthy stool, black, tar stools, or bright red stools may indicate bleeding in the intestinal tract. Black stools can also come from certain drugs, supplements, or consuming black licorice. If you have black terry stools, it's best to be evaluated by your health care provider. Another example of healthy stool is quiet and gently dives into the water. It should fall into the bowl with a slight little push sound, not a loud, wet cannonball splash that leaves you your tush that needed a shower afterwards. An unhealthy stool is white, pale, or gray. May indicate a lack of bowels, which may suggests a serious problem. Hepatitis, psoriasis, pancreatic disorders, or possibly a blocked bile duct. So this warns a call to your physician. And antioxidants and acids may also provide white stews. Healthy stew, natural smell, not repulsive. I'm not saying it won't smell good. It's just not repulsive. Whereas the unhealthy stew may be yellow stew, may indicate infections, a gallbladder problem, or conditions known as Gilbert's symptoms. If you see this, call your doctor. A healthy stew, uniformly textures. An unhealthy stew, presence of undigested food. More of a concern if accommodated by diarrhea, or weight loss, or other changes in your bowel habits. A healthy stew stinks slowly. An unhealthy stew, floaters. Let me go back to that. Stinks. I said stinks. A healthy stew, it sinks slowly. An unhealthy stew will be a floater or splashes. Now, that has something to do with your diet too. Okay. Unhealthy stew increases mucus in the stool. This can also be associated with inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, or even colon cancer, especially if accommodated by blood or abnormal pain. Unhealthy stew is a very bad odor. If your stew has extraordinary bad odor, it should not be ignored. I'm referring to an odor above and beyond the normal objectable stew odor. Stinky stews can be associated with a number of health problems such as malabsorption disorder, celiac disease, Crohn's disease, and chronic pancreatitis. A healthy poop position you probably aren't using. A conversation about bowels movement wouldn't be complete without a mention of the position, as this can impact the ease from which you eliminate and even increase your risk of bowel and pancreas problems, including constipations, hemorrhoids, and more. Most of you reading this or listening to this probably sit to elevate your bowels. But this requires you to apply additional force, the straining, which has some unwanted biological effects, including a temporary disruption of the cardiac flow. Sitting on a modern toilet is designed to place your knees at a 90-degree angle to your abdomen. However, the time-honored natural squat position, which is still used by the majority of the world's population, places your knees much closer to your torso. And this position actually changes the statistical relationship of your intestinal organs and muscular, optimizing the force involved in the bowel movement. Getting your footstool so that your knees is above the anus, and in that squat position, it's much easier for the waste to come out. That's when they deliver babies. They put the woman in a squat position. It's much easier for the babies to come out. And if you don't have a footstool right away, take your garbage can, the trash can, put your feet on that until you can go and get you a footstool or some books. The key thing is you want to get, like you do in Africa, India, they defecate in a hole in the ground. It's getting that stuff out. The stuff does not have any antique value to it the longer you keep it. We was in a class when we did a special cleansing, and the instructor, Dr. Matthews, told us to bring anything to the class that was unusual. So this one lady, she bought a nickel. We said, well, what's so unusual about that? That was in her stool. And she remembered swallowing that nickel when she was 5 years old. She was 55 when she was in this class. Yeah. Another thing, if you have some old food in your refrigerator, sometime after maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, it's old and rotten, you open that refrigerator door, run you out the kitchen, that old food is sitting in there at 40 degrees. We got old food sitting in our bodies at 98.6 degrees. It got to get the stuff out. 98% of all diseases originate in the colon. And the first place the body goes to get water is the colon. They got to keep it lubricated. The squatting straightens your rectum and relaxes your pulmonary muscles and allow for complete emptying of your cecum and the appendix without straining, which prevent facial stagnation and the accumulations of toxins in your intestinal tract. It is instructive that non-Western societies in which people squat do not have the high prevalence of bowel diseases as seen in the developing countries like America. In some cultures with traditional lifestyle, these diseases are uncommon or unknown. Just by squatting, it's get the waste out. If you're having a bowel movement and all the waste doesn't come out, rather than straining your anal muscles, try this. Do some deep breathing. Where you breathe in through your nose slowly, say if a count of 7 to 8 seconds, and your chest go out. When you get your chest full, taking one more sip, and then breathe out your mouth slowly. A count again, 7 to 8 seconds. You may open up the window, open up the door, whatever. And you'll find that after 2 or 3 minutes of that deep breathing, you actually push that little corner that wouldn't come out initially. You push that corner out. Because when you start pushing, you see they talked about hemorrhoids. It's best to let it ease on out. And that's another reason why exercise is so important. Because what does it cause you to do? Deep breathe. And so we always encourage people before they exercise, drink 1 to 3 glasses before you exercise and 1 to 3 glasses of water after you exercise. Because all that deep breathing, you want to lubricate that colon so you can push that waste right on out the body. And when you do that, when you get through your exercise, if you've done it properly, you have 1 or 2 things, either gas or bowel movement. If you have trouble with bowel movements, especially constipation, I urge you to give the squat position a try. Squatting does involve strength and flexibility that adults tend to lose over time, but children have it naturally. Special toilets and stools that get your body into a more squatting position can help you get closer to the ideal, even if you have been sitting for decades. Constipation, here's what can help. Water, water, water. A lot of times the body's constipated because it just doesn't have enough water. It's dried up. Constipation is one of the most common bowel problems. It's defined as passing hard, dry stools that you have to strain to move, and is typically accommodated by decreased frequency of defecation. Straining is not normal, nor is experiencing feelings of incomplete eliminations, bloating, crampiness, or struggling, stressing suggests this is a word that I say all the time. Stress less after doing number 2. If you're over age 65, your risk of becoming constipated increases significantly. If you're constipated, tweak your diet so that it includes plenty of whole foods, particularly fresh organic vegetables and fruits that provide good nourishment and fiber. However, most of the fiber should come from vegetables, not grains. Grains actually can contain anti-nutrients that may damage your health, as well as the sticky proteins like gluten, which is literally a Latin word for glue, in the certain class, which are highly constipating to each individual. Ironically, since we are often told that whole grains are one of the best sources of fiber for our health, the net effect of eating them would likely be constipating versus an elimination. And if it does have the latter effect, it may be due to irritant properties, hardly a wholesome food. Assuming your gut is generally healthy, I believe most people need upwards to 32 grams of fiber a day. Most Americans get nowhere near this amount. If your diet could use more fiber, resist the urge to fortify with whole grains, instead focus on eating more vegetables, nuts, and seeds, in addition to modifying your diet as described above. Often would have an effect on the constipation relief and preventing certain stages, as which includes the squat position, eliminating instead of sitting. Remove all sources of gluten and grains from your diet. Okay, mostly the wheat, the barley, the rye, and the spelt. Avoid artificial sweeteners, excess sugar, especially fructose, chemical additives, MSG, excess amounts of caffeine, processed foods like your bologna, your hamburgers, and your bacon, the stuff they just mix the scraps up with. Rather than throw that scraps away, they turn it into a hot dog. This processed food is loaded with nitrates, pesticides, and herbicides. and they are all detrimental to your intestinal tract and your immune system. Make sure you stay well hydrated with pure water. Get plenty of exercise. Avoid antidepressants and acids, blood pressure medications, iron supplements, as they may also contribute to your constipation. Now, the iron supplements we have at Healthwise got the bioflavonoids and the vitamin C. Remember, vitamins help regulate the minerals. Vitamin C help regulate the mineral iron. So people don't get that constipation when they take the iron. Blood pressure medication contributes to constipation. You know, lecithin is an emulsifier. You know how water and oil doesn't mix, and our body is 75% water, and we take these oils in. Lecithin helps emulsify that, so it doesn't clog up in blood clots and things like that when we get lecithin into our diet on a regular basis, daily basis, dealing with high blood pressure, because it contributes to constipation. I know we get to talk a little dirty today, talking about bowel movements before Thanksgiving, but our focus is on these holidays to not get sick. And a lot of people do get sick because they consume more sugars and more foods, and if you're going to do those things, just have you some enzymes during the time you're taking it, and at night take some oxy powder to get those foods out. Another one, which is what I do, is taking your enema once or twice a week. What a coffee enema. Do you know this guy was curing people of all kinds of diseases with coffee enemas, including cancer? So thanks for tuning in. You can stop by Healthwise. We can give you a hug. 5 hugs a day is healing. Peace and love, y'all.